Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August 28th meeting of the Women in Product Toastmasters Club. I will be acting as your Sergeant at Arms today. My name is Amy Kirkland. Today, our theme is product management versus project management. I'm excited to hear everyone's speeches and our table topics on this topic. At this time, I'd like to introduce our VPE, I think, Marguerite.
Yes. Thank you, Amy.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I am the VP of Education for this club, and I'll be stepping in for Rosie to share some club announcements. I'll start with, we're looking to plan a meeting where hiring managers speak and give us some tips that we can use if we're job searching, or if those of us who are not hiring managers become hiring managers. So if you've been in that position, please let me know. And I'd like to plan a session around that. The next item is membership renewals. Amelia recently sent out an email with details about how to renew your membership with the club. Amelia, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Not much. I'm happy to go over any steps related to PayPal or any other details after the meeting if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, feel free to also just reach out to me via email. But hopefully those instructions should be able to help you all out. And we're hoping to, I think, get the dues in by September 9th. So everyone can keep that in mind. That'd be great.
Thank you, Amelia. And next, just so everyone knows, the officers all sort of changed over at the beginning, as of the beginning of July, and all of us new officers, including myself, of course, have completed officer training. So we're better equipped to answer any questions anyone has, and we'll be looking to implementing some of the things we learned in future meetings of this club. And I also wanted to congratulate Tiffany on completing her level 1 of her pathway. I think it's presentation mastery with the last her last speech, which was in the last meeting. So a little round of applause for Tiffany. Thank you. All right. And yeah, if anyone else is sort of getting close to completing a level, please, let us know. We'll also be keeping track, but we'd love to shout you out. And the next announcement is the District 101 member survey. I don't have much detail on this. Tiffany, do you?
It's like a 1 to 2 minute survey just to, I think, understand member preferences across District 101. I completed it last night in like under 2 minutes, so it's sweet and short.
Yeah, so if everyone could take a moment, a couple minutes to complete the survey, that would be great. It's in the agenda, and I just put them in the chat as well. All right, and there'll also be, if there are any questions out there, there'll be Q&A following today's meeting. And now I'll just take a look and see if we have any guests today. Raj. Hi, Raj. Would you mind sort of introducing yourself and letting us know why you're?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Raj Muhar. I'm a director of product at Innovate, which is an ad tech company. And yeah, so I first heard about you all at the Women in Product conference, and then since then have been meaning to join and just see how things are. I've been, wanting to get better at my presentation skills overall, especially in impromptu situations, and especially interacting with senior leadership a ton. So yeah, this summer has been pretty busy. So this is the first time I'm actually sitting in. And so, yeah, would just love to see how this works. And just would love to know like everyone's experiences also. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you for joining and for sharing, Raj. And I think you might have an opportunity to practice your impromptu speaking during table topics today if you're interested.
Nice, love it.
All right, I think that's it for our guests. So I'll hand over to the meeting to our Toastmaster for the day, Shumai.
Thanks, Marguerite. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another meeting of Toastmasters. The theme for today is product versus project management. So how often have you had people confused with what product managers do versus project managers do, right? So they both have a lot of similarities, definitely, but product management is definitely strategically involved and project management is more of executing projects. So they can often do work closely together, but they have different sets of responsibilities. Where product management is more like researching, setting product vision, and communicating vision to the stakeholders, developing strategic plan, and creating and maintaining a product roadmap. Project managing can become like breaking down in like having a goal, allocating project resources, and monitoring task completion, etc. So with that introduction, I would like to introduce our general evaluator for today, who is Monique Tucker. To you, Monique, Mike to you, Monique Tucker.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. So today I'm going to be the general evaluator, and the purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout this meeting. During the meeting, I will be taking notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. I will evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. And at the end of the meeting, I will give my report. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Monique, for that. Let me quickly call out the roles today. And our first evaluator is speaker is going to be Sirisha Aluru, and first evaluator is going to be Marguerite Osley, and the counter is Eva Basley, timer is Amy. Kirkland, table topics is going to be Tiffany, and grammarian is Amulya Kandikonda. So I'm going to pass this on to our first speaker of the day, who's Sirisha Aluru. Sirisha, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This is an introduction, right, Srimai? Or should I go with my speech?
Go ahead. Go ahead with you can tell a couple of sentences about yourself and then start the speech.
May I ask what is the word of the day? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh, so I'm gonna pass this to Monique. You can ask your team to introduce themselves and give the word of the day too.
Sure. All right. So as we said, part of my team will be our first evaluator, Marguerite. So she will be looking at our first speaker and giving feedback there. And then we have our counter, Eva, if you'd like to give a quick introduction of what your role is.
Sure. Hi, I am Eva, and I am the counter of the day. The purpose of what I am going to do is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. So I'll listen to overused words, including well, so, like, but, repeats, others, things like that. At the end of the meeting, since I do have to leave slightly early, I will be forwarding my document to Tiffany, who will be reading over the log so we can get a sense of what the tally is.
Thank you, Eva. And next up, we have our timer. Amy, would you like to give a brief introduction of what you'll be doing today?
Yeah, so it's important for us to keep time when we're doing speeches. And so I'm going to be taking time. And since I'm filling in last minute, I would normally display cards that would show that it would show green, yellow, and red for the time markers, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that today. So I'm just going to keep keeping time, and I'll give a report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And our table topics master of the day is Tiffany. Would you like to give a brief overview of what you'll be doing today?
Of course, Monique, thank you. The goal of the table topics session is to challenge all of us to improve our impromptu speaking skills, to give us an opportunity to formulate a structured answer on the spot. So I will pose a question, pause for a few seconds, and then pick on someone to answer. The speaker will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond to the question. To make this a little fun, I'll also ask everyone to vote for their favorite table topic speech. I'll collect these votes via Zoom chat. And if you simply want to listen and observe table topics, feel free to message me on Zoom as well, so I know not to call on you. Thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Tiffany. And last but not least, our grammarian, Amelia. Can you introduce your role and the word of the day?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage, and I'll be taking notes of any use of improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. And as grammarian, it's also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is systematic. It means done or acting according to a fixed plan or system. Another synonym is methodical. For example, a systematic search was done of the whole city to map it out.
Sorry, could you repeat what the word is again?
The word is systematic.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank
I'll
you so
also
much.
add it into the chat. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. All right, thank you. Appreciate everyone's introductions from the evaluation team, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Monique, for introducing your team and also the word of the day. The word of the day again is systematic, so I encourage everyone to use it in your speech. So now I'm going to pass it on to our first speaker, Sirisha. Sirisha, over to you. Yeah, you can go ahead, and if you have a title for your speech, you can go ahead and introduce it and start speaking.
Sure. Thanks, Madam Toastmaster Srimayi. I have certain slides prepared, so I have to share. So let me share. And sorry,
I'll have
go ahead.
to add you as co-host, so give me just a second here. Oh, I can't. Tiffany, can you?
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
Shrisha, go ahead.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Yep.
All right. So before I move on to my speech today, I would like to introduce myself. I am Sirisha Aluru, currently working as a product manager technical in T-Mobile here in Seattle. And today my topic is in very much in line with our Toastmaster theme, which is product versus product manager. And this will go as part of my presentation mastery pathways in Toastmasters. All right. So like our Madam Toastmaster was saying, oftentimes project manager or product versus project is kind of a misleading or ambiguous, and you have to keep, I don't know, a number of times you have to tell them like who you are, right? So before I dive into like, the roles and responsibilities of product and product manager, I want to quickly start with what is a product versus a project. So product could be any consumer product, like it could be a software as a service, but it should serve serve a customer need or solve a customer's problem. Whereas a project way is a systematic approach in executing an idea. It is more focused on executing certain steps that are required to release the product. So as you can see, product could be long-term. A team or a domain can work on a certain product for many years, and it is continuous. So we build, say, MVP for a product, and you can enhance that product based on your market needs. There is no fixed date for a product. And whereas in project, it's a very short term, and you have a temporary duration. So there is a start date and an end date. Teams move from one project to the other project, like you see in this diagram. So if you want to put an analogy to this, if software product is a marathon, then software project is a sprint. So now let's go into the roles itself. Product manager versus project manager. So product manager is more of a strategic partner who works on the strategy that defines the high level plan and developing and marketing a product. How that product supports the business strategy and goals, he's responsible or she's responsible for strategy to build what next. The product manager creates the roadmap for that product, sets a product vision, and she's responsible mostly for communicating the vision to stakeholders. Whereas project manager is more of a tactical partner. Like I said before, he takes a systematic approach from planning to implementation of a project by organizing work, breaking into tasks, or you can call deploys. Project manager typically monitors task completion and the delivery management that goes with the project management. And he's also communicating constantly on the progress of the delivery to the stakeholders. So in interest of time, I only highlighted few high level key differences here, but these are most likely in some organizations, it's not as clearly separated as outlined here. So I just wanted to quickly touch upon the mindset shift, and also even why do we need a shift from project to product. So this is the shift I'm talking about, is a shift in mindset in viewing the software as a product that serves the business rather than a project that must be delivered. But why do we even need this shift? Because this shift will help focus changes from that short-term to long-term ownership perspective. So project is, meeting a deadline. You have some outputs that you define and you want to meet those outputs. Whereas in a product, you have the sense of ownership and accountability. So what I am saying here is, from project delivery to customer-centric product delivery will help only organizations to engage more on delivering the business outcomes rather than the outputs. And now I want to talk about what are the key areas. If you really have decided that, yes, we want this mindset shift, and also we would like to have our teams aligned to product management and not so much on the project management, I have come up with few key areas which our organization is working on. And to begin with, the very first step is the transformational alignment. Although these are two different approaches, and some organizations may focus more on project management versus product management. But whatever the approach you're taking, you need that alignment from executives and senior level down to the team level. So obtaining that executive buy-in is mostly going to be the most challenging and critical, because this will set the success for the transformation. And when I talk about domain autonomy, this is more like creating that workforce and IT flows in a way that teams are accountable for what they're building. From a product 0 to 1, you want to give the autonomy to the team so that they have less dependencies. So for example, we are coming up with creating more cross-functional teams in our domain who has full authority to build and deploy the working software at will. And this goes in hand with funding model and architecture, because the domain autonomy is not achieved if the funding model and architecture are not in place. So the funding model should be purely based on giving that authority to the team to come up with ideas, to come up with new product enhancements on their own, not by project to project. Not team shouldn't wait for a project to be approved. Similarly, architecture. So giving that full potential of a team to own their architectural roadmap, which is in place, like say, for example, decoupling and DevOps models will help achieve what we are set for in getting this transformation successful. Last but not the least is culture and leadership. Even though if you are successful in all these 4 areas, if you don't have this cultural principle of collaboration and leadership engagement, then it will be pretty challenging to realize the true benefits of product mindset. Now, I just wanted to give you my 2 cents, like what's my org's approach. So beginning last year, the state of my domain was, we are a big tech company, and we are building new products, as well as we are maintaining existing products and enhancing due to the highest demands of market. But we are still using the projects to realize the product delivery. So we have both product managers like me and project managers at a team level who are working in hand to realize the work day in and day out. Product managers, however, they are facing mostly external facing, while project managers are internal facing. What we are seeing now is like teams are swamped and overwhelmed, and some of my teams are working 7 to 8 projects at once. And sometimes the value delivered is questionable because they're working off of project deadlines and not giving the thought whether this project is delivering the value that we want to see. So I, as a product manager in T-Mobile, I'm working with leadership in trying to make that shift towards product. Like I said, because we have so many dependents within the teams, and we are seeing so much burnout and stress within the teams. And also, I wanted to focus more on breaking those barriers and giving the innovations to my Scrum teams. And as a product leader, I'm also encouraging and working with teams to shift to product approach so that they have more freedom and autonomy. And I'm working with my stakeholders to break the product approach, which is now like working off of deadlines and the tyranny of urgency that you call, to more get into a pace, like sustainable pace that provides more value. So although these are 2 different approaches, and it may seem like I highlighted more benefits on product management, both the approaches can be leveraged, but one should know and be aware of the pitfalls of each. And we switch from one to other, you need to look into the benefits as well as the areas where you can improve. For most software development cases, a product approach will be the right one. But a project approach can be very invaluable, because deploying at the right time and conducting that in an excellent manner will only set the organization for maximum value and outcomes. Thank you. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Sirisha, for that great first speech. And we have a couple of minutes for our evaluator to take some notes. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions you have to Sirisha.
Hi, Shreesha. Great speech. A question that's top of mind for me is, what do you think are the greatest barriers to the multiple streams of work and multiple projects that your teams are currently experiencing and trying to work through?
Sure. So the one biggest challenge I'm seeing is the ways the teams are structured. And we have more managers than the core team. And every manager, holds on to his team so dearly that he is like, he's not allowing or sharing the information outside, and that's creating more and more dependencies. And now the work is more like sequential rather than all getting together and building a product, because you're still working off of projects, right? So, and they're holding on to their capabilities, and they don't want to think as a strategic partner where we can bring forces together and build the product more efficiently. So that is the biggest you can call a bureaucracy in some sort, but that is the hardest thing that I'm facing right now, and I'm trying to make that business case to my leaders. Thanks, Tiffany, for that good question. I also want to hear from everybody what they think about the biggest challenge in their org.
I'll go. So my organization, we have both product managers and project managers, and we work together. So there are certain times where like we have features that we need to work with our project management team will work with them and like have some deadlines needed because a customer needs something. How do you feel like that is an appropriate, like that you can have them together and work together, or do you think it's sort of one or the other in your opinion?
Sure, Remy, thank you for that question. I think they
Yeah.
can coexist, and we may have to coexist. It's not like we're getting rid of all the project management. My my thought process or my thinking is they all should think about what we are delivering as a product. Although you can still be a project manager, but you can have a product mindset, that growth mindset, rather than just focusing on okay, like a fixed plan, right? No, that's what systematic is about. Just acting what you are asked to. Okay, this is a plan, this is a project, and this has to go on so and so date. And they sometimes I feel like they have blinders because they're just looking at the date. But it's very hard for them, or at least from my project managers, to realize that why do you want to deliver this on this date, right? Do even customers need it on this date? So that's the mindset I'm trying to make. So they can coexist, they have to work together, but they have to think about customer in mind. Is this deploy date is so important to the customer or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Great question though.
Thank you. We might have time for one last question if somebody's got one.
How do you teach a non-product person to start to have a product mindset?
So first of all, if it was me, I would train and try to explain, just like anything that you start, right? You just have to get the alignment, and then show them the benefits and what we are doing, because I wouldn't do anything without knowing the why, right? And as a product manager, we always think about why we want to do this, right? So I would really define why it's needed, and show them like what roadmap we have for this product mind shift. and address any concerns they have. So always, I think, if you want to buy in, or if you want them on board, you need to have the training and explain them like what we are doing or trying to achieve. Thanks, Tiffany.
All right, thank you so much. Amy, do we have time or are we done?
I think we're ready to
okay.
move on.
Okay, yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Sirisha, for that speech, and thank you, Tiffany and Amy, for your questions. Moving on, since we just have one speaker signed up for today, we'll move on to our next session, which is the table topics. So our table topics master for today is Tiffany, and Tiffany is a product manager in training at a B2B supply chain startup. She transitioned into product from project management and recently launched her personal blog to write about her adventures being PM #1 in a startup. How exciting. Beyond work, she loves reading, listening to podcasts, and spending quality time with loved ones. Over to you, Tiffany, for a round of table topic session.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Just to reiterate the goal of table topics, it's to challenge all of us to improve our impromptu speaking skills. So how it works is I will formulate a question, pose it to everyone, then I'll pick someone to answer the question. They'll have about 1 minute to 2 minutes to answer it to the best of your ability. There are no wrong answers, so just do your best, share what's on your mind. And we'll be learning from each other while also improving our impromptu speaking skills. Now, without further ado, I will kick it off with our first question. What does a great partnership between a product manager and a project manager look like to you for a systematic product development lifecycle? And I will call on Marguerite to take this question.
Thank you for that question, Tiffany. And so it's what does a good partnership between a project and a product manager look like? I think it starts with sort of defining what each person's responsibilities are up front, perhaps using a RACI chart, which is a framework where you sort of identify the tasks like one task could be writing requirements, one task could be working with engineering to get estimates on a project, things like that, and sort of defining who's responsible for what, who's accountable for what, who's just informed. So starting up front with what the roles and responsibilities of each person are so that there's no confusion. And then, of course, keeping in constant communication, making sure you're aligned if you're, especially if you're working on, whether you're working on one key big project or multiple projects together, staying in, building up a regular cadence and agreeing on how you communicate is really important for that product manager and project manager relationship to work well. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you for your response. I totally agree. Roles and responsibilities is always a great exercise to go through whatever the roles in question are that will be working together. So thank you, Marguerite. Question number 2. Describe the profile of a great project manager or program manager you once have had the pleasure of working with. And I will let Raj take on this question.
Thank you for the question, Tiffany. And so the qualities of a great project manager, people that I've worked with in the past have been, I would say, at least number one, communication, setting expectations up front on, defining roles and responsibilities, like Marguerite said. Usually in that conversation, we set the tone of what we, how often and the level of communication that's required, that worked for both parties. And so generally just in my preferences have just been communicating early and often about any issues, red flags, blockers that may arise. I don't like to be surprised. And then that being one, I think the second is being very organized and detailed as well. I think that one's pretty clear. There's so many things moving on one project or many projects at the same time. And so everyone has a lot on their plate. So a project manager bringing that is always very welcome. And then last, I would say persistence. Sometimes it's difficult to work with various stakeholders. And so being able to get at the true answers, whether it's engineering or others, I think is a really great skill to have and something I've leaned on for project managers in the past. So I would say those three key things, communication, organization, as well as persistence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raj. I feel like you had a very systematic way of responding to that question. So thanks for sharing your insights. Question number 3. How might the nature of partnership between a product manager and a project manager change throughout the life cycle of a product? I'll let Monique take this one.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Can you ask the question one more time?
Sure thing. How might the nature of a partnership between a product manager and a project manager change throughout the life cycle of a product?
Okay, great. Thank you for that question. So I guess when I think about how the relationship might change between the product manager and the project manager through the life of a product. So the thing that first comes to mind is at the beginning, if you have a brand new product, there's just going to be, I would say, a lot going on. You're just going to be trying a bunch of different things to try to make the product valuable and a viable candidate out in the world. And so for that relationship, the project manager really just needs to be, as Raj says, a great communicator, just able to keep track of all the details there. As the product gets a little bit more in maintenance mode, I would say those skills will still be more important, but depending on the team and the company that you work for, things just might not move as quickly. And so just having that patience and making sure stakeholders are aligned with what the different goals and challenges of the product are would be super important. And then in the off chance that you start getting rid of a particular feature on a product, just making sure that everyone's communicated well throughout that process. The project manager is super important to just kind of make sure everything is going smoothly. So yeah, I think that role changes depending on where the product is in its life cycle. And super interesting thing to think about. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you for your response, Monique. I think at a high level, totally agree with everything you shared. All right, second last question for today. What do you think product managers could learn from project managers? And I'll pose this question to Luz. Let me know if I mispronounced your name.
No, you said it correctly. Thank you. Could you repeat the question one more time?
Sure thing. What do you think product managers could learn from project managers?
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So what I think product managers could learn from project managers are a couple of different things. I think there's definitely a lot of overlap between the two roles. So some of the commonalities that I think you could learn from product could learn from project managers is definitely that communication aspect of things, especially when it comes to just communicating where like updates and where like a progress on different items and things that are being worked on. I think, of course, that may vary between the org that you're at and what's the separation between your responsibilities, but definitely think there's things that can be learned from communication. Another one I think that product could also learn from project managers is that way of systematic thinking of how we break down larger complex projects into actionable, like bite-sized pieces to work on. Since in my previous experience, I've worked with some great project managers that have been really great at taking these large complex projects that product proposes and being able to break that down for actionable pieces and actionable next steps for the team to work on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz. Yeah, that what you shared with me definitely resonates with a lot of my past experience. I'm really grateful for being really focused on the delivery aspect of when I first joined this organization, just getting stuff done as a project coordinator, turned project manager, and now product manager. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, last question of today. An early career professional is currently working as a project manager or program manager. They're thinking about pivoting into product. If they came to you for advice, what factors would you recommend they think about before going through with their decision? And I will pose this question to Amelia.
Great. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for the question. I think if a early career project or program manager was looking for advice into transitioning into product, I would first recommend them to potentially shadow or chat with fellow product managers and just understand what the day-to-day of the role would be like. I think oftentimes there are a lot of perceptions about what a product manager does day to day that may be different than what the actual experience is like. And so I would recommend them to get some more firsthand accounts of what the day to day is like. And then if they happen to think that that's the right step for them in their career, I would definitely recommend them to start taking on some more strategic products that or projects that are closely related to core products that their company is working on, learn more about the business goals of the company, and also learn a little bit more about the technical components that have to be built to meet those goals, and just expose themselves to the building blocks of building a product. And I think that could definitely set them up to really transition into a product role at some point. And so learning some of those more well-rounded skills and also learning what the day-to-day is like of a product manager.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And that actually resonates a lot with me personally. I feel like I did a lot of that, not as intentionally as you've outlined. So thank you so much for sharing, Amelia. All right. Thank you so much for joining me in table topics today. I will post a list of all our impromptu speakers today, and you can DM me in Zoom chat with your favorite table topics response from today. Back to you, Srimai.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for that session and the questions. Now we will move on to our evaluations for today. So I'm going to pass this over to our general evaluator, Monique, for her and her team's evaluations. Monique, over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. So now we've reached the evaluation portion of the day. So what we'll start with first is Marguerite giving her evaluation of Sharisha's speech. Take it away, Marguerite.
Right. Hi, Sharisha. Oh, there we are. Spotlight. Thank you for the great speech. Obviously, it spoke really, I like how it spoke directly to the theme of the day and really illuminated the theme. I love the structure and the progression of the speech in terms of how you sort of systematically laid out what the differences are, starting with the definition of product versus project, and then got, as the speech went along, got into a more complex, I think, a project or a topic that probably resonates with a lot of people on the call, which is switching from a project to a product mindset. I've definitely had that experience in my career. I also like how you called out that we product managers often have to explain the difference between what a product manager and a project manager is. I definitely had that experience as well. So definitely related well. I think you did a good job of sort of relating to the audience, of course. And I also like your conclusion. Obviously, it was very like it was the content of the conclusion was, I think, well structured, but it also sounded like a conclusion. I think you sounded a little just the tone of your voice changed a little bit, so I would have known it was a conclusion even if the slide conclusion wasn't there, which is, for me, is very impressive because that's something I need to work on. I love what it was very clear that you were concluding at that point with your voice, not just with what you were saying. And I tried to keep an eye on you and as well as the slides. And it looks like you were sort of, I think, engaging well with the audience in terms of looking at the camera. Your gestures were visible, which is can be challenging in this Zoom setting. So I could see that, and they, punctuated your the points you were trying to make well. And you had a great conversational style. You didn't appear nervous to me at all. So it was, great. It was sort of just a fun speech to listen to, as well as an interesting speech in terms of the topic. Some things I would notice that you might want to work on are, I noticed at least some of the slides were cut off the content. So maybe before next time before the meeting, you could sort of test it out by joining a couple minutes early. There also was a lot of content on a couple of the slides. So it was like I had to choose between looking at the content versus listening to you. So I think, you could potentially think about having a little bit less content on the slide. So, and also, so you have sort of drive home. So you can also drive home the most important points that you're trying to get across in your speech. And the last thing is, I would challenge you to, so near the end of the speech, you talked about what was going on in your organization. I think it would have been great to, throughout the entire speech for every sort of section, to bring in examples from your personal experience. I think that would have made a great speech even better, to get a little, so a few more personal details from your experience. Otherwise, it was a great speech. I think very well clearly delivered, and I think you made it a topic that a lot of us can probably relate to, reinvigorated in that discussion. So thank you very much, Risha.
Thank you for that feedback, Margaret. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you so much for that, Marguerite. Wonderful evaluation. Excuse me. So now we will switch into our overall reports for today, starting with Amy, double duty as timer. Would you like to give a report?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarisa, for your speech, you were at 9 minutes and 32 seconds. A little over, but without having the cue cards, I totally understand. It's hard to, it's really hard. Marguerite, your evaluation was at 3:58. And then for table topics, we had Marguerite at 1 minute and 23 seconds. Raj we had a 1 minute 38 seconds. Monique 1 minute and 55 seconds. Luz at 1 minute and 30 seconds. And Amelia, I'm so sorry. I guess I forgot to hit the start on you. So apologies. I did not get a time on you, but I feel like after doing so many, I feel like you were right around probably between a minute and a minute 30, if I were to guess. So
I think she was around 1:35.
okay. Well, thank you. Someone else captured it. So great. Thank you. Good job, everyone.
Thank you so much, Amy, for that report. So now go next to our counter. I know Eva had to step out, so I'm not sure who was.
I will report on Eva's behalf.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Monique. All right. I'll just go down the list. For Sarisha, 4 ahs, 1 5 plus so's, 5 plus likes, 5 buts, 5 plus repeats, and 3 you knows. For Marguerite, counted 5 plus ahs, 3 ums, 2 so's, 2 likes, 4 repeats, and 1 other. Oh, 1 you know. For Raj, 5 plus ahs, 5 plus ums, 5 so's, 3 repeats, and 1 you know. For Monique, 2 ahs, 5 plus ums, 1 well, 4 so's, and 3 repeats. For Luz, we got 2 ahs, 2 so's, 2 likes, and 3 repeats. And for Amuya, we got 1 ah, 1 so, 2 likes. And Eva did not capture these for me, but I know I got at least 2 ums or something like that. Thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you, Tiffany, for that report. Appreciate you stepping in there. So now on to Amelia as grammarian. Can you give your report, please?
Great. Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. I thought everyone did a great job with speaking today, and I didn't necessarily notice any inaccuracies with speaking, and overall, really great job. Sarisha, wanted to highlight one aspect from your speech that I found really great, that it was a great visual, how you compared marathon for product management versus sprint for project management. I really like the visual that you were able to present there. So great job there. And then in terms of the use of the word systematic, I think everyone did a really great job of incorporating the word of the day. Sarisha, Tiffany, Luz, and Marguerite are the folks that I caught, but sorry if I missed anyone else along the way. I think we all did a great job trying to incorporate systematic today.
Thank you, Amelia. So thank you to my evaluation team. I appreciate all of your reports. And so I will now give my general evaluation of our meeting today. So first, congratulations to Jeremiah on her first time as Toastmaster. Toastmaster role is challenging in general, and today with our smaller group, there were definitely some last minute roles to fill, and so great job handling all of the moving parts today. So if we were to dive into the different parts of the meeting and an evaluation there, we started pretty much on time, and Jeremiah, you kicked us off with our topic of product management versus project management. It's your wonderful introduction, getting us in the mood for the topic. So one thing I just wanted to call out as a potential opportunity is, I guess, alignment of our agenda and the role helper sheets. I think I was a little confused on whether I was supposed to introduce all of my evaluation team at the beginning or the Toastmaster was supposed to. So that might be something we can just update on the agenda, because I believe both the general evaluation helper sheet and the Toastmaster one says that the general evaluator is supposed to introduce the team. So just making sure we're on the same page there, I think that would help with that. Sarisha, wonderful speech. I really appreciated how you just really clearly broke down product versus project management. Loved the theme of how we can all work together, and just for a project manager to have the product mindset. I just thought that was a super cool insight and thought to bring up. So thank you for that. Tiffany, great job at table topics. Your questions are super thoughtful, and I think trying to choose who to pick for each topic was a little challenging because of the small group we had, but I think you did a great job figuring out the right people, as we had a lot of double duty. Marguerite, thank you for that valuable feedback for Sarisha. I think it was super good insights to help get her to be an even better speaker. And let's see, what else did I want to point out? Thank you, Amy, for double duty as SAA and timer. I think, as you pointed out, definitely a challenge not having the timer cue cards, but overall people were generally on time. So I guess as we've had practice, we seem to know how to get into the right time even without the cue cards. So great meeting today. I know with the smaller group, we're going through pretty quickly, but I felt like we still had a lot of valuable insights and good stuff for people to go back and look at. So thank you all, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator Monique. That was a great evaluation of our meeting today. I'm going to pass this to our table topics master, Tiffany, to declare the winner for the table topics today. Over to you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and thank you once again, everyone, for your thoughtful responses to today's questions. The winner of today's table topics was Raj, so congratulations, Raj. Really hope everyone enjoyed and took away something from today's table topics section. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for everybody for participating in the table topics today, and congratulations, Raj. I know our VPE already had some announcements at the beginning of this meeting. So I just want to check, Marguerite, if you have any other announcements to make.
Sure. I would just like to, of course, always remind folks to sign up for roles for the next meetings. We have at least one speaker slot available for next meeting, and we're also looking for a Toastmaster. The next meeting is on September 11th. Let me put the link in the chat that's the sign up form. So it takes less than a minute to fill that out. And I don't know if I just wanted to emphasize or remind folks about the dues payments that were mentioned at the top of the meeting. I think Emily mentioned that they were renewal is due by the September 9th. Yeah. So just wanted to emphasize that. And we'll have Q&A after the end of today's meeting. I think with that, I can hand controls back over to our Sergeant at Arms, Amy.
Thanks, Marguerite. I will go ahead and stop the recording, and we will be adjourned.